We'll call the meeting to order. And the first thing on our agenda would be the approval of the minutes from our previous meeting. Do I hear a motion to accept this? And a second. All in favor? Aye. Motion carries. The first thing we want to do this morning is, our unsung hero. It's always a good thing to do because we have a lot of people that do a lot of good things here. But this meeting, Tom Luder, can you come up here, please? Yes. Tom's been a resident for about 10 years, and hard to believe, yes. Came in as a young man, right?
They used to call me the teenager.
The teenager. And but a few years into his residency, he started a newsletter for residents. At the time, it was mostly announcements and a schedule of events. It was the acorn planted to grow into the oaks. At the time, there were a few skeptics, surprised, that didn't think it would survive. Email addresses were sparse back 10 years ago. Tom spent hours putting the email addresses for the mailing list, and it took about 5 weeks to create the directory. After the directory came the calendar. And as it grew, other residents joined in, volunteered, and put together what we have today is called the Oaks. The skeptics are wrong, right? And Tom still has, and this is where I go beyond my skills of any kind of computer. Tom has the directory and calendar under his personal domain, still. Anybody know what a domain is? There's a few, that's good. And he would like to have Regency Oaks domain where he could transfer all that data from his domain into the new domain. And all we have to do is figure out how to do that. And so far we haven't.
It costs a lot of money.
Maybe. And I've given some domain names to Lindsay, and she can pick out the one she likes, because there's quite a few. She liked a couple of them too. But that may be a goal for the 2024 Tech Committee, to figure out how to make that transfer from one to another, and if it will cost a lot of money or not. So thank you, Tom, for all your work. A nice plaque.
Well deserved.
And
Money.
almost. It's got a charcuterie table for two at the Brick and Vine.
Got it. Thank you, sir.
Very nice.
I do want to say one thing. Give me a microphone. Oh,
There, it's right behind you.
No, it was a little slow going back in the days when I thought we should have something like this, and it was a little difficult selling the idea. So I decided I would just do it on my own. So I started and I said, I'm going to do it and I'm going to see what happens. If it doesn't fly, then I can always cancel. If it does fly, then it'd be wonderful. It did. It was amazing. Because right away it took off, and it was very interesting how many people started signing up for it, how many people got on their computers that they hadn't been on in years. It was a real success. So I did that for about 1.5 years, and I really enjoyed doing it. But at some point I said, we need to make this not mine, but ours. And I sent a memo around to a lot of people and said, I'm looking for people to join in with the Oaks and see if we can make it something even bigger and better. And like always happens in a place like this, there were all kinds of people with talent and ability and the wherewithal and wanting to help out. And that's wonderful about this place. So pretty soon, I think we had several volunteers. And to them, thank you so much, because it has become something that I'm very proud of, but they should be very proud of. They have been working very hard, Joanna, Mary Ellen, and they have several people now. And I appreciate it so much. And what you see now is it's not just my effort, it's a unified effort, and that's what's so great about a place like this. So thank you so much, and enjoy the Oaks.
Thank you. Next on our agenda is the candidates for the board vacancies, and we'll take them one at a time. Carolyn Montgomery, do you want to kick this off? Want to grab the microphone by Candy? I hope it's on. It's not on.
The one that was here is on.
Green light, got it. Okay. My speech is short this morning, and it's also in large type, so I don't have to use my reading glasses. I moved to Regency Oaks as a couple, and to my surprise, I found myself as single, and I had a choice to make, and my choice was to stay at Regency Oaks. I've been on several boards and committees. Got to get a little closer here. Employee Gift Fund, Getting to Know You, Ambassadors, Sales and Marketing, and Flight Rep. I'm aware that the Roro Board is an advisory board, as defined in the Florida State Statute 651. The Roro Board, through resident committees, is able to suggest and advise the Regency Oaks directors, the management company, LCS, and the owner's health peak. I'm looking forward to a collaborative working relationship with the above entities of Regency Oaks. Very similar to my teaching career of working with principals, school boards, and voters. Happy Thanksgiving. Enjoy your Thanksgiving dinner next week. Remember, you didn't have to shop for the bird, prepare it, and all the sides, and most of all, you didn't have to clean up the kitchen. Happy Thanksgiving.
Margaret, would you like to go, please?
Good morning, everybody. During my work years, I was a teacher, a librarian, customer service, store manager, human resource director, and office manager.
Wow.
These all involve people, trying to help people. I've lived at Regency Oaks for 11 years. During that time, I served on many different committees. Technology and Communication Committee was working on the very beginning of the recycling. Buildings and Grounds Committee, chairperson of the Activities Committee, chairperson of Dining Committee, an ambassador, and a member of Getting to Know You. I served on the Roro Board for 6 years, and then I had to go off for 1 year, which is according to our bylaws. I served 4 years as a 9-community advisory board to the Brookdale president and chairperson of that committee for 1 year. At the time, it was Chris Bird, who is now LCS. He moved from Brookdale to LCS, and Bill Smith at Brookdale. I want to listen to the residents and represent them on the Roro Board. But remember, we are only advisory, and corporate decides lots of things.
Judy.
My name is Judy
Use the
Studebaker.
microphone, please.
My name is Judy Studebaker. My husband Wayne and I have been here 11 years. I have served as a member of the board of directors of the Regency Oaks resident organization for the past 3 3 years and as vice president the last 2 years. I served as president of the Regency Oaks Scholarship Fund, a 501c3 corporation board of directors from its inception through giving the scholarships this past June. With the help of the members of that board and the many residents who have donated funds, we grew from a very small organization to one which was able this year to give 19 scholarships ranging from $400 to $10,400 for a total of $90,400. I chair the Sales and Marketing Committee, and we now have Erin Clem, our new director, and I think the whole board, the whole committee, Sales and Marketing Committee, was very impressed with her at our meeting a couple of weeks ago. And she has some new ideas and that I think will be very, very helpful here. I also serve on the dining committee, which is very fulfilling for me because I enjoy the food and the events. And now that the weather is beginning to break from, quote, heat and humidity, we will be able to enjoy regular dining in the breezeway. I want to thank everyone for allowing me to do this because I think it is very, very important. Although we are an advisory board, I think that Lindsay Weaver does listen to us. Thank you.
Well, we had 3 candidates to fill 3 spots. So I will have to entertain a motion that we cast a unanimous ballot for the 3 candidates to fill those positions.
I'll make that motion.
Okay, who did it?
Jim Bitter. John second over there. All those in favor of the motion say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. President's comments. I've got 3. Work orders. We have a system, and we've got to live with the system as it, even though it may be lacking in spots. So if you see something in a common area, this is outside your apartments, put a work order in for it. They will do those too, and they make, if there's chip paint or gouge in the wall, a mess to clean up, well, that's evident for that, but just turn in a work order. So that way, they may not see everything that we see, because they're only here for 5 days for 8 hours. We're here 24 hours a day, so we may see a lot more than what they can see. So they need to know about it. Turn in a work order. And it may not get done right away because they have priorities. You know, air conditioning goes off. You know, that's a high priority. Plumbing leaks, no power. Those are the things they're going to address, even if it's not scheduled. They'll drop what they're doing and fill that order in. So be patient. I tried to get some numbers, and Chris and I spent some time with this computer. We actually had to physically count the number of orders that were completed in a particular month because there's no reporting in that system. But in October, they completed 477 orders. And that's everything from light bulb change to hanging pictures, whatever. That's 24 work orders a day. And you can see why that's 24 completed every day on average. And you can see why Lindsay has said that we're using CDS to do more and more of the work, because there's a lot of work, and as Brad has said, and even Lindsay has said, it's a 30-year-old building. It takes a little more maintenance than if it's 10 years old. And right now, today, they have 75 orders pending. And so, with 5 guys, it's not going to be just Regency Oaks people to complete those in one day. So that's why CDS is involved too. So be patient, but turn in the work orders. We got to live within the system. And if you have to do it twice, do it twice.
What does CDS mean?
It's a construction company. There's a contractor that does all the rehab of the place. And I have no idea what CDS stands for. Anybody? I'm guessing the C stands for construction.
Construction design
Yeah.
system.
The next one is gonna put some people to sleep. Government regulation. Back in the last session, the legislature passed revisions to Article 51 of the Code for Senior Living Facilities, Communities. And effective July 1, we're supposed to elect a designated resident representative, DRR, or DRR, that's the new acronym. In effect, the management will send a letter to the designated resident representative, to say they're going to start working on the budget and any increases that are going to be applied to our bills. So I got to be careful here because it's really, it hasn't been defined yet what a designated representative is going to be. Just that one has to be selected by the board. It can be a board member, it can be an individual, it can be a position. But we have to let management know who to contact. I know some CCRCs have gone way to the one end of the rainbow. They have actually developed a job description for the DRR. And your board didn't want to go that far, so we didn't even want to make a person's name and who that would be. So we just chose a position. And since the president meets with the executive director every week, that would be a good person to notify that the process for budgeting and increases is started, which usually is in August and lasts for a couple of months. And then, I mean, this is just the current board. I mean, it can be changed from the president to the director of finance, or just as somebody's name. That can be changed. Because the regulation, which has no authority over us anyway, but they put us in there and say, they have to be serving for at least 12 months. Well, for 12 months is a little long because the budgeting process is only about three months, over 3 months. So we have designated the president as a contact. Now on the opposite side, management has to document every single thing that to comply with the 651. I mean, they have to sign. I had to sign, and two others had to sign, Fred Reed and Lou Weislogo, because we were the committee that was looking at this. Every time we met, we had to sign a paper that we met, because they have to document it, because the OIR, the Office of Insurance Regulation, comes down and audits to make sure that 14 days prior to the budget meetings, the DRR was notified that the meeting was coming up. We don't have to, because they can't tell us what to do, because we're here voluntarily, and so that the representative doesn't have to go to these meetings. This regulation change was one size fits all, and it doesn't fit one size fits all, because I heard the commissioner of the Office of Insurance Regulation speech at a FICRA event, and he was very cautious not to put anything committal on how it was going to be defined, because they're not sure how to do it either, because you got nonprofits, you got for-profits, and we're supposed to have access to the boards. The non-for-profit has a different board than ours. Our for-profit, we have a health peak board, we have an LCS board, and then we have, the executive director. So who is the one we're supposed to meet with? LCS and LPEAC have determined that it's Lindsay, the executive director. And so has, they have their lawyer's opinions, which doesn't agree with some of the flag bearers' opinions, so there's still some debate about what to do. In fact, I had an opportunity, I've asked Lindsay, when they had the meeting with LCS to present the budget, I asked to be present, because I thought it was what was required. She said no. And then I had an opportunity with Lindsay and Sherry Robinson. I asked Sherry, I said, I think I should be there. She said no. Very politely, but no. So I didn't attend. Now that may or may not be correct. We don't know if the OIR is going to say that is. But I certainly know that the Health League is not going to ask me to be on their board of directors. So we'll see what happens to that. And I see some livelihoods going closed here. So we'll move on to the third topic. Liquor license. We don't have one yet. I've had I've had a few questions like, when are they going to get it? Enjoy the day. Just take one time, they'll let us know, I'm sure. Because when I first found out about this almost 18 months ago, to tell you how long this has been going on, I met with Brant. I said, Brant, I'm not getting billed for our drinks. I said, what's going on? Are the kids not putting it in the system, or what's going on? That's when he said, we don't have a liquor license. And so he said, but he wanted to keep it cool for a while, but people were starting, we're a smart bunch of people. We were figuring out, I'm not getting billed for my liquor. And so when Lindsay finally had to say, we need to let everybody know that they're not going to be back billed because we can't do that. That's illegal too. And so, but the problem is, stand by your livers. Back in 18 months ago, the alcohol cost was $5,000 a month.
Whoa.
That's standard. I mean, even when we bought it at Brookdale, I mean, it was $5,000 a month. That has kind of drifted. It's now $18,000 a month. The good news is we're not being billed for it. I mean, Regency Oaks is not being billed. Somebody else is paying the freight. But that's somebody else's money. That's still our money. That's exactly right. Somewhere along the line, it's like, it's free. It's from the government. Right.
Yeah.
They're going to get it back. So, you know, even our last board meeting, we were talking about it. Somebody suggested we start an AA chapter here. But drink what you expect. You can't store it yourself. We're not camels or anything like that. So, drink responsibly is what they say. But it'll get straightened out. There's other things being considered, so I don't want to suggest anything because that gets the rumor mill going nuts too. So enjoy it today, and we'll worry about tomorrow. So, and with that, I'll go to committee updates. We'll start with you, Candy, and then we'll work across.
I may have to take a drink from my gator cup first. Good morning. I am Candy Muller, and I am chair of the dining committee. I would like to recognize my committee members. Please, Margaret Hendry, Judy Studebaker, Edie James, Linda Rudiger, Tammy Maurice, Pam DiMarino, Bev Cooney, Pat Geisheimer, Dora Belport, Gail Logan, and Bobby Belcher, who was chairman until April, and then I took over as chairman. So, and our amazing staff, Ricky Baker, John Hubbs, Phil Surt. I always throw a number out at you first, and the number I'm going to throw out is 140,000. That's meals served this year here at Regency Oaks. So our guys and the staff are busy. And what we've accomplished this year is I have a whole page. We have successful gourmet meals, dinner on the breezeway, including dinners and also pizza, which is you'll see as Bella Row.
The reservation system is working well. People are getting their reservations and being seated in a timely manner. Excuse me. Omelet stations during Sunday brunch were added this year. Sunday brunch is held in the North Dining Room and has been very well received. The omelet stations and brunch is very popular and very busy. The pub is now open on Saturdays. The pub menu is regularly updated, and now we have vegetable of the day, and we have a regular dessert offered with dinner in the pub, and breakfast and lunch are also offered. The town hall grand opening was very well attended. A large variety of food was provided, and the dining staff were well dressed for the occasion and served the food. Special dinners continue to be held, including Italian dinner, wine pairing dinner, gourmet dinner, charcuterie board event in the pub, and enchanted evening. Changes have been made to the left side of the menu, including sandwiches are now listed. Changes have been made in the dining staff. With the staff, some staff were promoted, new staff were hired, and we do have a new sous chef who was hired. Thank you.
Okay. My name is Andrea Hagner, and I'm chairman of the Activities Committee. And I'm going to tell you who our committee is. Now, Mary Ellen Bader, Beth Beaumont, Judy Collins, Millie Diaz, Debbie Gregg, Mary Ellen Gardner, Carol Rasinger, and myself, and our director is Ginger Horton, with the able assistance of Samantha Sierra. So we've got a good group. As we age, we've all been told to stay active. Moving to Regency Oaks is a way to do that. Ginger and Sam make sure there are a variety of exercise programs, including line dancing and water exercise. They also assure that we'll be entertained by lots of performers throughout the year and can attend some programs on medical information, and they take us on field trips regularly. Then there are arts and crafts, woodworking, theater, and chorus. The Resident Activity Committee works with Ginger and Sam to provide lots of other outlets to keep us busy. Most obviously, there are all kinds of games to play, as casually or as seriously as you wish. And you can learn. You can learn about Spanish, writing, card making, history, opera, or current affairs. Programs about local history and the lives of our fellow residents have been well received also. Residents suggest, organize, and lead these activities. The Arts and Crafts Show and the book swaps are good examples of what we've done recently. As is the new book club, the Opera Appreciation Group, Color Me Calm, our dance night, and it looks like we're getting a men's group started, which is wonderful. These are all things that people wanted, and they went ahead and did. And we support them as much as we possibly can. That's what we're all about, is just having something for everybody to do and supporting however we can to make that happen.
Good morning. I'm Lou Weislow, chairman of the Finance Committee. The members of the Finance Committee are Bobby Boucher, Marie Bishop, Greg Green, Don Hamilton, Bill Mascadini, C.L. Wilmot, and myself. The committee has reviewed the monthly, quarterly, and executive summaries to date and for the year of the financial operations of Regency Oaks. Some numbers. Net operating income as of the end of October, $5,404,000. Budget was only $4 million. So that means that we are ahead by over $1 million. But don't get excited. Because when the CPAs out there, When the CPAs out there in Colorado get going on it, and they start taking depreciation and all the other magical tricks that CPAs know, I'm sure that will come down. Plus there are adjustments, and as Chris mentioned, we've been getting reimbursed for the liquor each month, but that was when it was, $6,000, $7,000. Now that it's up to 18, will we continue to get reimbursed? And if we don't, then that's got to come out of our budget somewhere. So be responsible, that's all we can say. The committee was also invited to interface with management as they prepared the monthly service fee increase for those of you who have January contracts. And we also participated in the costs for the supplemental services for next year. It was myself, Fred Green, and Chris. We spent many hours each week meeting with Sherry, and as you know, you've gotten the results of that meetings. And you will be getting the results of the new designated expenses, we call them the supplemental fees, in a very short time. So it's a big step forward. I can remember years ago when I asked once, can we see the budget? And I was told very politely, that's none of your business. So we've come a long way, maybe. I'm also chairman of the Weiss Local Committee Award. I'd like to say you've all received something in the mail about that. This is an award created almost 10 years ago in honor of myself and my wife, my late wife, more so for her than me. But it was to honor for exemplary contributions to the quality of life of Regency Oaks. It's been awarded every year. And we are taking nominations again this coming year. Please, if you nominate somebody, please tell a little bit about why you're nominating. Just don't put a name down and hand it in, please. The deadline for nominations is Friday, December the 8th. And you can either email them to me or put them in my mailbox. So please, think about it and think about why you're nominating that person or persons for the position. And one last thing, I'm completing my 13th year on the Roro board, 6 as president, 13 on the board, and this is my last meeting. So I want to say thank you for letting me serve all these years. It's been great. Thank you.
Good morning, I'm Chet James, Chairman of the Building and Grounds Committee. The members of the committee are Gene Beagles, Ken Cash, Bill DiMarino, Steve Evans, Don Graham, Ed Hawks, Margaret Hendry, who is our secretary. Thank you, Margaret. Tony Quattromani, Lou Weisvogel, and Mike White. Our accomplishments for this last year, they might not look like them. I don't have a great deal, a long list, okay? But one of them is we got ADA toilets in the restrooms in this building. When this building was finished, the toilets were standard height. It should never have been that way, okay? We're a senior living community. We're all used to ADA toilets. That got taken care of very promptly. We had the main entrance curbs repainted to conform to the code, which says that entrances on each end need to be painted yellow because that tells everybody coming in that it is a divided driveway. We recommended, and they've started adding chemicals to the air conditioning drains in apartments to keep the drains clean so that it will drain. This has been a problem fairly frequently, okay, and it's a very disruptive because they have to come into the main closet, okay, and get into the ceiling to try to take care of it. Another thing we've done and still sort of in work is define the bicycle identification requirements. Why this is important, we have 2 bike racks, one for each building, okay? The one in the north is at capacity and over with 12 bicycles in it. Some of the bicycles look like they haven't been used in a long time. We do not know whether the owners are still living or still here. So what we're asking everyone to do, if you have a bicycle, please register it with Ginger, just like you register your car. And we need some way to know, if we look at the bike racks, whether they're registered or not, okay? So what we're gonna ask people to do is to get one of these, available at front desk in each building, and attach it to their bike. It's readily removable. I don't care if you don't put it on except when the bike is on the property, okay? It would help greatly if you just put your name on the back of it, okay? I don't need any rest of the information, but that way we don't have to go look up and see who it belongs to and this sort of stuff. You put your name on. There are currently only 5 bikes registered. There are 12 in the north bike rack and 1 in the south bike rack. So please, if you have a bike, or you know someone that has a bike, ask them if they've got it registered, please. We have trying to work with the maintenance director, and we have a very successful working relationship now. Okay? The concern for this was the problems that cropped up when we had the first phase of the paving project. We think we have some expertise from a resident's point of view of things that need to be done, and so we are going to be consulted before the next phase of the paving project is done. And for those who don't know, the next phase of the paving project will be the west side of the south building all around and includes Tilton. There are several items that need to be concerned about this, okay? And I think all those are known and will be followed up. One of the other things that we did, someone asked about memorial trees, okay? If someone wants to do a memorial tree for someone, okay, they need to consult me or a member of the Building and Grounds Committee. We've talked to our landscaper. We have 4 different varieties of trees that are available. The cost will be $250 and up, depending on the tree and how large it can only be a certain size that we can handle without having to have a forklift. And the signage that will go, that you like with the tree, would need to be limited to 5 by 7, and that will be an additional cost for the person who wants to do the memorial tree. A couple of things that are in work, okay? One is the stairwell signage in the south building. The signage needs to be identical to that in the north building, okay? The fire department has looked at the north building and approved it. Another thing is grab bars in the restrooms in this building. We got the ADA toilets in, but we didn't get the grab bars in yet. Both of those are in work. The work orders have been turned in. And an item about work orders, okay, followed with what Chris had to say. They're taking care of work orders in about 4 days, okay? Now, if it's a safety issue or something, they will be on it promptly. We're tracking those in the Building and Grounds Committee, and we're pleased with the way things are going. Thank you.
I have one. On that
Good morning, everyone. I am Judy Studebaker, and I chair the Roro Sales and Marketing Committee. Members of the committee are John Bourbon, Bill DiMarino, Eleanor Finn, Chris Jenix, Cheryl Hewlett, Chet James, Carolyn Montgomery, Ann Siraj, and I am the chair. We finally do have a new sales and marketing manager, Erin Clem. We met this month, the first of this month, and I think the entire committee is quite favorably impressed with her. She has some exciting new ideas. There is still much concern among current residents about the number of people being moved in who don't seem to be really qualified to live in independent living. We are working with Aaron to try to alleviate this concern.
Good morning. I'm Tony Quarterly. I'm the chair of the Health and Safety Committee. I took the chair from Chet, who's now building and grounds, and I found that there's a lot of work that we do, or we identify and we pass the building and grounds to get done. So you're going to see here some duplicates. My committee members are John Bergman, Millie Diaz, Susan Haverbeck, Karen Lee, Jan Judish, Alice Portramani, and Toby Schubert. We also have two representatives from management, and they have been very helpful with us. Kelly Clark, the Director of Resident Services, and Christine Senchikovic, the Innovative Home Services Director. They attend our meetings, and believe me, they really respond to what we come up with. During the year, we worked, and this is going to be a report of the whole year, not just like 3 months. So a lot of this, again, is going to be duplicative of building and grounds. We highlighted the need for additional stop signs and the painting of curbs throughout the Regency Oaks, and that's been done. We are working to improve the stairwell identification. We install fire door controls. And I want to say a little bit more about the fire doors and the doors and entrances. We identified the need to get the automatic door, and that door over there. We asked to have automatic doors on these that go out to the lobby, and that was denied for this year's budget, but they supposedly leave the doors open while we're in here. But there's other problems with doors in this building. A few days ago, a resident was trying to enter from the patio, or whatever you call it out there, through that automatic door. That door, automatic control, was so far from the door that if you're not fast, the door closes on you. Well, this poor person was in a powered chair, and as he got to the door closed. And as a consequence, he got a little bit bloody. Fortunately, Christine Senchikovic was there, and she took care of him and fixed him up. But that door needs to be fixed. There's also some problems with the doors going into the restrooms for people that are in walkers having a hard time getting through those doors. So this is going to be passed to Building and Grounds for action. Particularly in at least one of the north refuge collection areas was filthy, and we've been pushing with maintenance, and residents that live down there have been complaining, and we're trying to get that cleaned up. It's a little better. One problem I've noticed in one of the floors in the north building, and I don't get to the south building, I don't think they have the same problem. For the north building, there are trash collections in the center of each of the hallways on each of the floors. And there are residents putting trash that's too big to go down the chute. They leave them in the floors, and somebody has to clean that up. And that's continuing. So if you see people with trash and just dropping it off in the doorways, the hallways, and the floor, please correct them. We're working to get parking restrictions along the perimeter roadway. That's great. Now we can drive without hitting people. We work with, when somebody wanted to have wet umbrella bags at the doors, and Roro did that for us. We've been working with the Director of Resident Services to find someone to hold, I call it bereavement meetings, but for men, because there are widows here, widowers here, and it'd be nice if we could have some kind of counseling for them. Millie Diaz does a beautiful job for the women, but there's nothing for the men. And the men, understandably, don't want to go in with the women for bereavement and vice versa, so we're trying to do something there. someone mentioned earlier, one of my compatriots, about having people here that may be too infirm, and we're letting them in and become residents. Well, several years ago, there was an effort, and it still exists, for the employees, and they identified people or residents who are a little too infirm and are having trouble. They could fill out a form, the employees could fill out a form and send it to, I forget who I think they called it the wellness navigator. Well, the day I took over for the Health and Safety Committee, that form was placed out on the desk for residents to use, but I picked up and read it and I said, no, this is not residents. So I asked to have another form that residents can fill out. If you find me, for instance, if you think I'm falling over too much and I need help, you could write that form and very discreetly bring it to Kelly Clark. Don't mail it, just carry it over there, give it to her, and they'll take care of it. And, and provide advice to people that need it. So that's something that's doing. And we identified the need, and this is something the Health and Safety Committee obviously couldn't do, but we asked for improved pest services to get rid of the wasps' nests. And our friends over in Building and Grounds are taking care of that. And finally, we identified the need for pull cords and locks in some of the public restrooms, in particular the ones over here by the pub. Because you can go into that room and lock the door from the inside and have an attack, and there's no way to tell anybody, there's no pull cords, and the door's locked from the inside and no one knows who's in there. So we're trying to get that fixed. Thank you. It took longer than I wanted to.
I'm Mary Ellen Gardner. I'm chairperson of the Technology and Communication System Committee. My committee is Mike Murphy, Bill Snyder, Ron Levin, Val Shikolov, Jan Berberek, and our staff person is Sam Sierra. We have used the information from the survey from the Activities Committee that came out for technology, and we have offered classes for iPhone users, Android users, Excel basic users. We've offered one-on-one sessions for iPhones, Android phones, navigating Apple computers. We are looking for those that are interested in more advanced classes in Excel and Word programs. In other words, thinking outside the box. We'd like to do more or find out what you could do with it. If you are interested in that, send me an email. We can always use residents who are computer literate and interested in making life better for their fellow residents. If you're interested in that, come up here and sign a paper and I'll call you and we'll talk about it. And we thank everybody who's helped residents during the past year. We have not been asked to give advice regarding any programs or future possibilities of technical or communication systems from the management this year. It's hard to advise on something if you're not asked to advise on it. The committee has recommended to the management the desirability of an IT support associate that would provide support for both residents and management in the technology area. Thank you.
That's the committee report. And is there any questions for your board? No? Oh, way over there.
Chris,
Please identify yourself for the secretary.
you often say that you're an advisory board, but you do have oversight role for representing us as residents.
Right.
And I think that
By your mouth,
the board does have political clout that they can use with that oversight role and holding staff feet to the fire. And I think you need to use some of that political clout that you have at times.
Okay. And we've done that because we got some changes recommended changes in effect. So, not a lot, but we made some progress.
Okay.
Especially on the ancillary charges, I think that was the word you were looking for.
Ancillary.
Ancillary?
Ancillary charges.
Something like that.
Isn't Lindsay,
Select services guide.
isn't Lindsay the staff liaison for the board?
No, Lucy is the executive director.
Yeah, but isn't she the staff liaison for the board?
No, because each committee has their own director.
No, I'm talking about your board.
I am too.
I guess I'm curious as to why she isn't here.
Why she isn't here? This is our meeting.
She attended this meeting.
That's because it's a resident organization meeting.
Okay.
She has Tuesday talks, we have forum, and that's her situation.
Okay.
Joanna?
I was trying to use this door the other day, and it pushed it, and it clicked, but it didn't open. I just used it right now, it opened. But if you go outside, you cannot open the door from the push button that they put out there.
It worked for me this morning.
We'll go and try it right now.
The little
It won't
one,
work.
the little one on the pole.
It's something for the maintenance committee.
Yeah. Go in there.
Chris. I can speak loud enough. I'm
No,
a kind
we need microphone, please.
I'm a newbie. You mentioned IT support, so is there
Can you
IT
please
support?
state your name before you start talking? I don't know who everyone is.
Okay, sorry. I'm Elizabeth Graves.
Thank you.
And is there IT support for people?
Not for residents, no.
So what happens if
From
you need
residents to
IT?
residents.
We have a resident
It's
support.
voluntary, there's no
That's
staff
fine.
person.
There's no staff support, no.
I mean, so who do we contact if we need IT support?
Very good.
Well, if it's resident to resident, you can Mary Ellen and everybody on her committee.
Okay, so I'm so new. I don't even know, like, who the people are and how do you reach them?
I had a computer in the
Yeah.
lobby.
Where do you find that information?
In your handbook
Well, there's the Oaks has
that
a
you were
directory.
given
and
when you moved in.
Elizabeth?
The Oaks has a directory where anybody who wants to look
Okay.
up it.
Elizabeth, it depends on what you mean by IT. Because you've got Spectrum, you've got telephones, you've got cell phones, you've got computers.
I
iPhone,
mean,
you know.
basically computer.
If you need help, then if you'll talk to me, I'll see if I can find somebody to help you.
Great, thank you.
Oh, one more.
Valerie McAllister, if they put in regulatory toilets for handicap, why did they not order the bars and such that should go along with that? Is nobody watching when they order these things to look a little bit more than just order one thing? What else do you need?
Not locally. Most of those decisions for the contractor and the architect were made elsewhere. And
Who oversees that?
LCS oversees their own staff.
Okay.
And we have provided feedback. Let me tell you, we've sent back feedback. I heard it, so.
Are we gonna get a new contract with Spectrum?
That is still being worked on. It's a month-to-month contract extension. They want to do something, and we want to do something, and it's mainly upgrade the system, but Spectrum wants a big chunk of money up front, and we're looking for, elsewhere. But it's in limbo, but we're extending the existing contract.
Thank you.
Who is that? Ed Hawks.
Ed Hawks.
And we have put forth that people need to know in advance if they're changing, because we have over 30 people that have TampaBayRR.com emails, And if they change, they'll be lost. You cannot extend them.
That's good to know.
Yeah, I've already told them.
Valerie McAllister again on this. One day I was walking through the hallway and I saw a lady on the first floor standing outside of her door, holding the door open to make a phone call. I've had problems too with the, it's not voltage, but the amount of coverage we have. And does that go along with this contract that they're trying to renew?
If you're talking about cell phones, no.
Yes, sorry.
Because that's your provider. I know in the dining room, I cannot get cell phone reception from my provider. If you're using Wi-Fi calling on your phone, you can connect it to your Wi-Fi, and that would enable you to make phone calls. But that's up to your provider, Verizon, whomever, AT&T. It's not Spectrum. And the Wi-Fi in the hallways is not going into your apartment. Do not expect to use the Wi-Fi that you see on the ceilings for your Wi-Fi. That is very low. It doesn't go through the walls. That's why they stopped. So don't rely on the ones in the hallway. The general areas like here and the lobbies, you can use the Regency Oaks Wi-Fi, the resident Wi-Fi, but not in your hallways.
Great.
Well, I'm sorry. That's because she couldn't get Wi-Fi in her room.
Maybe
You have to pay for that from Spectrum.
So you have to have your own Wi-Fi in your own room to
Correct.
get this.
Correct.
Oh, okay, I don't believe she realized that. She was just going by the outside and I was trying to help her.
Okay. Well, if any more no more questions, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second. All in favor, say aye and stand up.